Alright, yes guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. As you can see by the background, we are now in Tulum, Mexico. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a answering your guys' questions type of video. So a little Q&A, and I did a little poll on Instagram the other day, just pretty much saying, send in some questions, anything either trading related or not. I will answer them in today's video. So let's start off with the first question. When you started broke, how did you overcome the urge to make money? So the way I overcome this is simply by getting a job, right? I know it sounds complete opposite, but if you have a steady income coming in every single month, you're not gonna be as desperate to actually catch a trade in the markets, right? Because you have that income coming in on a month-to-month basis, and then you can actually focus on trading on the side. If you don't have a job, you have zero income, zero money coming in, you need that next trade to be a winner. What is that gonna cause? That's gonna cause you to be more emotional, more desperate, you'll likely make the wrong decision, and overall you'll be in a negative headspace. So the way that I overcame this urge is simply by having an income coming in every single month, right? If you don't have an income, urge to make money is going to be very, very strong, and you're most likely going to fail. So I always advise, do not go all into trading until you know you're actually profitable in the markets with a consistent strategy that actually creates results. Do you trade the London session using previous Asian session highs and lows, and how is it? I don't trade the London session, nor do I trade the Asia session, okay? The only session that I trade is the New York AM session. So I can't really answer that question, but if I were to give you any advice is if you are trading the London session, I would trade it from the silver bullet hour, so from 3 AM to 4 AM. That 1 hour period is when you're probably gonna catch the most and highest probable setups. So London is from 2 AM to 5 AM and Asia is from 8 PM to midnight. And yes, if you are trading London, you can use the previous session highs and lows, for example, Asia. Would I recommend trading London or Asia? Probably not. Okay, for me, it didn't work. I tried trading London before, wasn't very profitable. For some people, it may work. For me, it didn't. So I stick to the New York Open. Do you trade on FOMC day? So it depends which FOMC is. If it is the FOMC meeting minutes, where it's just a PDF that's released with the information, then I will trade it. If it's a press conference where Jerome Powell is speaking, I will not engage with price action that day, and I will not trade it, simply because when Jerome Powell is speaking, it's going to be a low probability day. So you're most likely going to take some losses, and you can't really predict the market when a person can say something and it can even go up or down. Okay, you literally have zero control. So I would stay away from days like that. Where can I join the Discord? So if you want to come watch me trade live each morning and you want to tune into the live streams, make sure to check out all the links in the description. You have to apply to actually get inside, and then if you're approved, you'll be able to schedule a call directly with me. We can have a conversation and get you inside as soon as possible. So if you are looking for mentorship and you also want to come watch me trade live, just check out the links in the description and apply. How to become a profitable trader and what to follow? Great question. So there's a few steps in order to becoming a profitable trader. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it. Okay, you need years of experience, years of hard work, years of consistency, and most importantly, years of repetition. But if I were to just put it into words simply, all you need is a consistent strategy that provides consistent results, an actual model to follow, so a full A+ step-by-step checklist. You know exactly what you're looking for every single day before you approach the market. Risk management is very important, okay? It's important to stay in the game. As long as you take a loss here and there, if you're using correct risk management, you're still in the game and you can still recover from that loss very quickly. Compared to someone who has not done that and they have zero risk management, one trade or two trades can completely blow them out, and that's it. They're out of the game. And then number 4, most importantly, is going to be psychology, okay? As long as you have the correct mindset when you're trading, you're going to be good. Okay, now this is one of the things that takes more time to actually get good at, and it comes with experience. The more you trade, the more setups that you take, it will eventually come and you will feel more calm, relaxed, and not as emotional. Now, a good tip with psychology that I recommend is obviously trading the correct amount. So if you're over leveraging or using way too big of a contract size that you usually don't do, of course you're going to be more emotional, right? Because a lot of money's on the line. If you're trading, I don't know, $10, you're not going to be very emotional, are you? So always trade an amount that you feel comfortable with losing. What percentage do you risk in challenge and funded? So the way I like to approach a challenge prop firm account is simply by funding one very clean A+ setup. I will risk a high amount, almost the whole drawdown of that account onto that one trade. Okay, now if I pass that, cool, I'm funded. If I don't, I blow it, I buy another eval, and I repeat the same cycle until I get funded. Now, for someone that's not in a good financial position, this might not be the best way to approach things, okay? However, if you don't care about $50, which is the challenge fee, then by all means, just go all in on that one trade. And if it hits, you get funded. If it doesn't, you fail and you buy another account, and eventually you will get funded very quickly, okay? With evals, I really don't have time to waste, hence I just either pass it or I blow it, okay? Now, when it comes to funded accounts, it's a lot different. Obviously, I'm using risk management when I'm trading these funded accounts. Now, what percentage do I use? Usually it's around 1%. So let's say, for example, I have a 50K account. I'm usually risking around $500 per trade on that account. What's your average risk to reward per month? So it really does vary month to month. My highest month was around 9R. Now, usually we're sitting around a 1-to-3, 1-to-5 risk to reward ratio on the month. But of course, each month can vary, okay? My worst month was -3R, and then my best month was +9R. What was the most important thing you changed to break out the cycle of unprofitability? There's a ton of things, but if it came down to one and the most important thing that actually changed that cycle for me of unprofitability, it would definitely be just going all in on trades, okay? So I'll definitely say risk management, because every single time I was profitable trading the strategy in the model, right? But it'd always be a time where I'd get frustrated, I'd take a few losses in a row, and I'd go all in on that next trade, trying to recover all of those losses, okay? And what would happen? I would blow that account. And then when the next trade came, I didn't have enough capital to take that trade. And that was the trade that actually ended up being a winner. So it was every time when I was very close, I'd always blow the funded account, right? So the most important thing is actually managing your losses. If you can't manage your losses, you're never going to survive in the trading game. You simply won't. It's the person that can handle the losses the best, that's the person that's going to succeed in trading. Okay, if you can't handle losses, this probably isn't for you. But yeah, once I fixed that and actually stuck to proper risk management, literally like a robot, I risk this amount, I lose. I risk this amount, I lose. I risk this amount, boom, I've won. I've recovered those losses, okay? As long as I stuck to that, that's when things started to turn around for me. My psychology started to slowly get better, and I broke out of that unprofitability cycle, which most of you lot are in right now, and I understand how it feels. I've been there, I've done that. And trust me, once you do get to that profitability stage, that's when things actually start to click for you and you truly understand the game of risk management, psychology, and sticking to your strategy. What increased your win rate? Well, it's very simple. I started to take high probability setups. So I'd focus more on taking A+ setups rather than taking B+ or C+, and I would only stick to a strict A+ criteria. So if there was one thing missing on that criteria, I simply would not take the trade. So I was being very picky with all of the trades that I took. Every single setup had to meet a strict checklist for me to take. That's what increased my win rate. I started to take less and fewer trades. However, the trades that I did take, most of the time, they ended up being a winner rather than a loss. How many trades do you take in a day? So usually I'll end up taking around 2 trades in a day. Now I have a rule. If I take 2 losses in a row, I'm going to stop for the day, I won't trade. Now, if I take 1 loss and 1 break-even trade, I'll allow myself to take a third trade, okay? Now, whatever the outcome is on that third trade, whether it's a loss, break-even, or win, I am done for the day. So the maximum amount of trades I take in a day is going to be 3, and the maximum amount of losses is going to be 2. How did you overcome the hesitation problem? That is a great question, okay? So listen up. The way I overcome this is by backtesting, simply by backtesting, okay? If you actually know your model, and you can see on a long-term basis, on a 1-year time frame, that your strategy is consistent and it actually provides results and it is profitable, then you know, right, whenever the setup comes, you simply take it. No matter what you think in that moment, okay, as soon as you see your model play out, you simply execute. That is your job as a trader. Now, once I figured that out, yes, it does sound a lot easier said than done, but that is your job as a trader, right? As soon as you see your model on the chart, you either click sell or you either click buy. That's it, that's your job. If you fail to do that, how are you gonna receive the results that you're supposed to receive on a long-term time frame? You're not. Because let's say you hesitate on that one trade and it ends up being a winner. Then you don't hesitate on the next trade and it ends up being a loser, right? It doesn't make sense, your risk reward's gonna be off and you're gonna miss out on the actual winning trade sometimes. Yes, it might play out for you one time here and there and you're like, oh, thank God I didn't take that trade, it was a loser. However, that is a loss that you're supposed to take. If the model has presented itself and you haven't taken it, then you failed as a trader. You need to take that. Even if it's a loss, that's a good loss that you should be taking. okay? As long as it's your model, that's the trade you should take. So the way I overcame this problem is simply by backtesting. And I realized, okay, on a long time frame, this strategy, this model is actually profitable. And I had trust in that strategy, because if you don't do the backtesting, how are you supposed to know if the strategy is actually profitable or not? You don't know. You're just blindly trusting someone on YouTube that's explaining the model, and you don't truly trust the strategy, okay? So it's important to actually backtest for yourself, and that you know personally, okay, this strategy is actually profitable, and that way you're going to become less hesitant. Also, another big thing is the size that you're trading with, okay? If you're trading with a lot of money on the line, of course you can be hesitant because you're scared to lose that money. So trade with the amount that you're comfortable losing, and the hesitation will go away. Do you trade the PM session? I don't, okay? I used to trade a PM session, and I actually found out that most of my losses came from the PM session. So I simply just cut that out of my strategy, and I've been very profitable ever since. How do you decide when to not trade? Like a list of criteria that will help to choose whether we should skip. Yeah, so I have a full A+ checklist criteria that I follow every single day, and that includes a sweep of liquidity, either buy side or sell side, a clear displacement in the opposing direction, a market structure shift, okay? If there's been no market structure shift, there's no trade. Number 4, a clear entry model, like a fair value gap. Now, if it's paired with a breaker block or mitigation, even better. But you need a fair value gap. If there's no gap, there's no trade. Number 5, we need correlation on S&P 500 or ES. So all of the things that I've just listed out on NQ, we need to see those exact same things on ES, okay? If we don't see that, again, there's no trade. A clear and valid stop loss of 30 handles, at least covering the imbalance, and then a clear drawn liquidity. So you need to have a strong bias on the higher time frame and a very strong drawn liquidity that you can target in that trade. And most importantly, your entry must be inside of a specific 30-minute time interval macro, okay? So we have the 9:45, 10:15 macro. We also have a 10:45, 11:15 macro, and we have a lunch macro, 11:45, 12:15. Okay, there's a bunch more macros which I don't trade. Those are the 3 main ones. So if one thing is missing from that criteria, I will not take that trade. Okay, we need to have all of the things that I've just listed out. Only then is the trade valid to take. Which trade copier do you recommend? So Replicanto is a very good trade copier that you can use. Another great trade copier that you can use is Tradesyncer, which a lot of people nowadays use as well. I'm still struggling as a break-even trader. How did you break through to become profitable? So the fact that you'll break even is very good, okay? As long as you're not losing, that does tell you that you do have something as a trader. You go from the losing stage to the break-even stage and then to the profitable stage, okay? So the fact that you're at the break-even stage means you're very, very close. You have to just tweak a few small things in order to start seeing that profitability. So this is exactly when things like backtesting comes into play and self-reflecting comes into play. So I highly recommend you start journaling and you start seeing, where am I going wrong, right? What am I doing correctly? What am I doing incorrectly? And fix those things that you're doing incorrectly, and then you should start to see that profitability. How long did it take you to become profitable? Very good question. It took me 3.5 years to actually start seeing some results. So the first 3 years, I was trading retail concepts, things like support and resistance, supply and demand. For me personally, didn't work, was very unprofitable, and lost a lot of money. Back then as well, I didn't really know about prop firms, so I was literally trading my live account, depositing, okay, and just losing money every single week, every single month. Every single paycheck was going into these accounts, and it was just getting blown. Then eventually I stumbled upon ICT concepts. I started studying the mentorships, I started learning more, and eventually I started to see some results. So about 6 months in, that's when I found my strategy, found my model, and started to follow a strict criteria checklist that I stuck to, and finally, I've found some profitability. Are you still doing live trading in the Discord? 100%, bro. We're still going live every single day at 9:30 a.m. New York time. If you lot want to tune into the streams, make sure to check out the links in the description and apply for mentorship. Anything that you can think of that you need to become profitable trading ICT concepts is inside of this Discord. All right, so click the link, apply now, see you lot inside. Why do you only trade macros? So this is a great question. The reason why I only trade macros is simply because you're going to find the best and highest probability trade setups inside of these 30-minute time intervals. Anything outside of the macros is less volatile most of the time, that I found out of my experience. And it doesn't really give you a strict criteria to follow, okay? If you know, okay, I need to trade inside of this window from 9:45 to 10:15. If I don't capture a trade, I wait for the second day macro, okay? It gives you a strict routine to follow. For someone that doesn't trade the macros, they're going to be all over the place, right? They'll see a setup here, they'll see a setup there, and they'll start taking any single trade that they see. Whereas with me, I strictly know I'm only taking a trade inside this macro. It doesn't matter if I see a trade outside the macro or before the macro, I'm not taking it, okay? I only trade inside of the macro. And, you know, with backtesting and forward testing, I've come to find out that most of the losses and most of the trades that actually happen before or after the macro or outside the macro, they tend to lose anyway. So my strategy and model works the best inside of these 30-minute time intervals. How much time you take to understand this thing? That's a funny question, bro. I mean, it really depends and varies on person to person. For some people, you might find profitability within 6 months. You know, I actually had a student of mine that was studying ICT concepts for only 6 months, okay? He joined the mentorship, he followed the strict criteria that provided him, he followed the exact model and strategy, and within 2 weeks, he got funded and he got paid out. Okay, that's the quickest I've ever seen someone actually become profitable. And now to this day, he's receiving consistent payouts month on month. So that's probably the quickest I've ever seen someone do it. I wish that was the case for me. It wasn't. It took me a lot longer than 6 months. However, for some people, it may take you a few weeks, few months, and for other people, it might take you, I don't know, 10 years, you know? So it really, really depends on what type of person that you are and how quick you can learn it. I can't really give you a straight up answer, it will take this long. I don't know how long it would take you. Okay, it might take you a few weeks, it might take you 10 years. Who knows? All right, guys, and that is all of the questions for today, okay? Unfortunately, there is no other questions. If there was, I would have answered them. All right, make sure to drop all of your questions and comments in the comment section down below of what type of video you want to see next, what type of questions you want me to answer, and I'll make sure to do these videos more regularly and answer your guys' questions. So yeah, other than that, I hope you lot enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe. And lastly, if you are someone that's really serious about getting your trading to the next level and you're actually looking for a mentor to guide you each step of the way, make sure to check out all of the links in the description. For someone starting out completely new to trading, or they've been trading for years and they're still not seeing any results at all, I would highly advise you to look for a mentor, okay? Whether that's me or someone else, actually learn from someone who's already achieved the success that you also want to achieve. Yes, you can do it all by yourself. Yes, all of the information is out there for free on YouTube nowadays. However, it will take you a lot longer compared to skipping the line, okay? Learning from someone who's actually done it already and getting straight to it, rather than digging through all this information, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. That's a complete waste of time. Would not recommend to do it. If you want to do it, that's fine. But the amount of money that you're actually saving does not make sense, okay? I would rather just pay, skip the queue, and get the information that I need, because that money in a few months, a few years down the line is going to be worthless, okay? It's the amount of knowledge and information that you're actually going to learn and the amount of money that you're going to make from this career, which is trading. So if you are that someone and you are interested, make sure to fill out the application form in the description below. And other than that, guys, I'll see you a lot in the next one. Take it easy.